thanks for joining me today. We are going to be doing a live swatch of the new Zoya Sophisticates collection for fall 2017. We have 12 brand new shades in shimmer and cream formulas, a lot of really incredibly saturated things, a couple of one coaters, beautifully shimmering things, and there's sure to be a shade here that's really going to feel like fall to you. We have a lot of beautifully feminine rosy shades that are just putting me right on cloud nine. I'm really excited to share these with you, and you guys know me, I really tell you how I truly feel about a polish, and if the formula is not working for me, I would tell you. But even furthermore than that, the live swatch shows you, because as you see me paint it on my nails, you're going to see what the formula is like, and you don't just have to hear me tell you that it's great or see a picture of it and hope that it's great. We're actually going to check out these formulas and make sure that your favorite polish is not only going to be a treat to wear, but is also going to be a treat to apply. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. These polishes are available now at Zoya.com for $10 a piece. I, as always, will link in the description bar below where you can just go click and look at these polishes on their website. At the end of the video, as I always do for mainstream brands, at least the most highly requested mainstream brands, we're going to do a dupes and comparisons session. So if there's some polishes in here you're thinking, do I have something that's kind of like that? Well, we are going to go over that at the end. So probably the 2/3 of the end of the video will be a dupes and comparison if you're looking at this and thinking, this is kind of a long video. Well, if you're not interested in the comparisons portion, well, you can just stick to the first part of this video. So let's go ahead and get into it. I am going to go over these polishes in alphabetical order, as I often do on my channel, because that just makes me feel collected. So the first polish up is, I think, one of the most interesting polishes in the collection, and it's called Beth. And Beth is described as a soft, sandy rose gold metallic, and that is such a great description for this because you're going to be seeing some golden metallic things in there, but it also definitely has some rosy tones, and it's just such a fun combination. So gorgeous to wear, just soft and delicate, but also definitely intriguing. So I'm going to be swatching everything for you today at 2 coats. Some of the polishes will only really need 1, but I'm going to do 2 just for consistency. I liked Beth best at 2 coats. It has a beautiful gold shimmer that really stands out in the nail. This is actually a favorite for me out of the collection, just because it is something that I don't really have at all anything close to from Zoya. But as you will see, a lot of these polishes are just so on point. So first, we've looked at Beth. My photos will all be 2 coats with Zoya Glossy Seal on top. The next polish in the collection is Elaine, and this is described as a dark umber brown cream. This is delicious. I like this best at 2 coats. This is certainly the deepest polish in the collection, so if you're in the mood for something ultra dark, this is the one you're going to want to go to. It's also completely neutral, of course, so you can really wear this with anything. I actually have a niece named Elaine, and I feel like picking her up a copy of this and sending it to her, it's too serious for her now. She's 11. She's Lincoln's age. But I think that she's going to love having this gorgeous chocolate brown in her name later on. So as with the rest, this was 2 coats in my live application and 2 coats with top coat for the photo. This next polish is another really interesting shade in the collection, and this one is called Gal. It's described as a smoky, iridescent peridot gold metallic, and this one is extra fun for me because in the month of August, the birthstone is peridot, and so this is my birthstone. This is definitely, you know, a more subdued version because it's got all those smoky vibes in there. This polish is really, really cool. You can see like all these kind of micro copper flakies in there too. It's really stunning. So this is best at 2 coats, I feel. It just has an absolutely gorgeous look on the nail. This has to be named after Gal Gadot from Wonder Woman fame, which makes it extra fun for me because I loved that film. So this is Gal, and we did 2 coats in live application, and I added a nice glossy seal on top for the photo. Next up, we have this gorgeous dark blue, and this one is called Hadley. This is one of the 1 coaters in the collection, but I'm going to show you 2 coats as I am doing with all the rest of the polishes in the collection. Hadley is described as a smoky midnight blue cream. So the smokiness, I guess, is the gray that they're combining with the blue. Really, really dark though. Not a light dusty blue gray by any means. And I also feel like it's just a little bit green in there. So absolutely gorgeous. So easy to apply. These creams just feel like you're draping silk over your nail. It's just such a treat. This was 2 coats in my live application, but you really only needed that 1. And then I, of course, added added some top coat for the photo. So out of the collection of 12, 6 of these polishes have some pink tones in them. That's what I feel like. It was definitely a rosy vibe coming out of this collection. We already looked at one, very first, had some slight rosy tones. This one is obviously rosy. And this one is called Hera, H-E-R-A, and this one is described as a muted red mauve cream. So they're not describing this as a rose, but I guess if you put red and mauve together, you kind of make rose or berry if it's like a more rich, dark, saturated color. So anyway, this one swatches beautifully, as with all of these polishes. As you're seeing, it just glides on my nails so easily. I'm doing 2 coats in my lab application, and my photo is 2 coats with top coat. So you're gonna have to check out all these roses and see which one is your favorite, and definitely let me know in the comments. And your favorite doesn't have to be a rose, but I just think there's such a great mix of these classic rose shades that I feel like there really is something here for everybody. All right, this next polish is definitely one of my favorites out of the collection. Just look at that. It's got some hints of purple. There's really not a lot of purpley stuff in here, but this one has my heart. Like, as soon as I put it on, I just went, so, you know, when something gives you that feeling, you just know. This one is called Joni, J-O-N-I, like Joni Mitchell, and it's described as a deep, dusty plum cream. So, I don't really think of this as like a deep plum. It's more like a mauve, like a dusty mauve cream to me. I love that it's dusty though, you guys know. I mean, fall collections are some of my favorite, because there's so many beautifully dusty, sultry things for fall. Oh, just makes me so excited, you guys. Okay, this swatches just beautifully. I'm showing you 2 coats in my live application, 2 coats with top coat for my photo. And so yeah, I mean, if you know that you usually like the same things I do, you're gonna go crazy for Joni. Definitely pick it up. The next polish in the collection is this light neutral. So we had that darker chocolate or umber brown. Now we've got this beautiful light shade, and this is called McKenna. And McKenna is described as a refined pearl in soft almond. So basically, it's this beautiful soft almond shade, and it's got this lovely pearl, kind of lustrous shimmer going all throughout this polish. For such a light polish, this is incredibly opaque at 1 coat. This is really, really good. I'm gonna go ahead and show you 2 because that's what I'm doing with everything. But I was just astonished when I put this on, and I was like, dang, this formula is so good. Easy to just go apply 1 coat. You just really don't have to wait for a long dry time. I was really impressed. So you guys know by now, Zoya is known for their neutrals. They have such a great set of neutrals. This is just offering you something a little bit different, adding a little bit of lustery pearl in there. So yeah, this is McKenna. I've shown you 2 coats in my live application, and the photo is 2 coats with top coat. The next polish, oh baby, this is so beautiful. This is Mona. And Mona is described as a deep burgundy plum cream. So another plum thing, but this is actually more what I think of when I think of plum. But they've gone a different twist on it, and instead of being like a plum mauve, this plum burgundy gives some warm tones in there. It's almost going towards a brown. It's so beautiful. This applies so nicely in just 1 to 2 coats, you guys. This is just delicious. If you haven't tried Zoya yet, I mean, raise your hand if you haven't tried Zoya. I don't know what you're thinking. You really need to give these guys a try because they're absolutely a favorite brand of mine. They never ever let me down. The next polish in the collection is Padma, and this makes me think of Top Chef. And this is the polish that I've had on almost all my nails except my accent finger there today in this video, and it's just so beautiful. Definitely another rosy tone polish. So Padma is described as a deep vermilion red cream. Now when I think of vermilion, I actually think of like a warm red, like a red orange, which is like super saturated color. So I didn't really connect with the vermilion nature of this polish, but it definitely does look like a rose, mauve, plum kind of thing again. This is very similar to Hera, so we will definitely be looking at that comparison when it comes up at the end of the video. But regardless of the description, it's absolutely stunning. Such a beautiful shade. Easy to wear, easy to apply. So as you've seen, I did 2 coats in my live application, and yeah, another dream formula here. Alright, the other purpley polish in the collection, but just a much lighter version. This is another top polish for me. So this one is called Presley, and this is described as a smoky mauve or mauve taupe cream. And that it is. I definitely see those colors in there, but this is just like my exact light neutral shade that I could just wear every day. And you're thinking, well, that's kind of strange because that's super purpley. But for me, I love that. Like, this almost just looks like a perfect gray because I've added a bunch of purple. So anyway, I know you guys hear me say that all the time, especially about Zoya. Like, this is my perfect purple. This is my perfect light mauve. It's just so beautiful, you guys. So this goes on just beautifully in 2 coats. I mean, I could not ask for a better formula. So that also makes me love this polish even more. So I did 2 coats in my live application and 2 coats with top coat for the photo. Presley, I mean, you're just so beautiful. So the next polish in the collection is a green. I'm so thankful we have at least 1 blue and 1 green in this collection because I just cannot live without them. And I love how these colors look together. It's so fall, just love it. This shade is called Tabitha. And Tabitha is another one of the pearl shades, the lustery or shimmery pearl shades. And it is described as a refined pearl in a deep hunter green. So the difference between a pearl and a shimmer is just that a pearl is like so finely milled that you can hardly even see the particles. So it's just adding that little touch of luster. So we have another beautiful hunter green in Zoya's family, and this time it just has that little teeny tiny bit of shimmer to add some dimension there. This is great at 2 coats. It has some beautiful, delicious yellow undertones in this green. You guys hear me say all the time that I really like blue greens, but this is decidedly yellow and I really love it too. I feel like fall is really about the yellow toned greens. It's Zoya perfect formula. 2 easy coats, never an application issue. So I've put on top coat for my photo of this as well. So this is Tabitha. So I'm already in mourning because we're at the last polish and I'm just sad to stop talking about Zoya, but 1 polish had to be last, so it is going to be Yvonne, and she is certainly not least. This is another beautiful 1 coat polish. None of these are promoted or promised as 1 coat polishes. They just happen to be. If they are 1 coat, I just let you know. Because that means it's actually even more easy of an application because you don't even have to wait for a second coat to dry. So Yvonne is described as a rich Bordeaux red cream. So beautiful. It is similar-ish to Mona. So of course we will look at those side by side coming up in the comparisons. But with all the shades of red out there, maybe you were hunting for just this exact one, and if you were, you can rest assured that the formula is going to deliver for you. So I've shown you 2 coats in my live application, although as you've seen you really only need 1, and my photo is with top coat. So this last one is Yvonne. Alright you guys, so that is the end of the swatching portion of the video. If you are not interested in the dupes and comparisons, you don't need to stick around anymore. If you aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and you will find more live application reviews of nail polish collections showing up in your subscription feed, and hopefully that will make you even more happy. If you do want to watch my dupes and comparisons portion, we are going to go ahead and get into that right now. Okay guys, so welcome to the comparisons and dupes portion of this video. We're going to go ahead and go in the same order that we swatched them. So first up we have Beth, and that polish is second from the bottom. Now I only had 1 mainstream thing that was kind of similar, and that is SE Comfy and Cashmere at the bottom. And that's a matte polish, and so I top coated it so you could see the beautiful blue shimmer in there actually, which is totally different than Beth, but among all the other mainstream polishes, among all the other neutrals that I have, Comfy and Cashmere was the only thing that came kind of close to this thing that Beth is going for. I was really surprised I had no other neutrals like this. At least for mainstream brands. But I did have these 3 really beautiful indie polishes to show you that give a pretty similar kind of look as Beth. They all do have holographic in them, which of course gives them a different look. But other than the holographic, they achieve the same kind of goal because it's a soft kind of rosy tan. So we've got Colores de Carol Rendezvous right there next to Beth, and it's not identical. None of these are identical by any means, but I just thought if you really like the look of Zoya Beth, you might also like to know about these polishes, and if you're also into holographic, then you will really enjoy them for that aspect as well. So we have Rendezvous, which is kind of more of a caramely shade. Then we have Au Naturel, which is definitely the more rosy shade, but it's a little bit lighter than Beth. And then we have a little bit of a deeper shade, which has a similar base, it looks like, to Beth. At least more similar than the other 2, and that one's called Silhouette, but it is deeper. So anyway, there you have those. I thought that that might be fun for you to look at. Okay, next up we're looking at Elaine, and that's second from the bottom there again. And Elaine is that really nice and deep chocolate brown, but it's really, really deep. They called it an umber. So I have two things that are incredibly close. Most close, we have OPI It's Top Secret. That's super duper close. So if you already have that, you may feel like those are close enough that you don't need the other, perhaps. And then also Color Club Cup of Cocoa is really similar. That one has more red in the base. It's not quite as cool toned of a brown. And then we have Essie Partner in Crime. Also really close. It looks different here, but in comparison to all the other browns, it's actually pretty close. Here you can see in comparison, it has more yellow in it than Zoya Elaine, but they're all pretty similar and they're all straight up creams and they all have really nice formulas. Okay, so next up we're going to look at Gal, which is the other, I think, most interesting polish in the collection after Beth. And it is their third from the bottom. So I did not have anything close enough to, not nearly close enough to call a dupe. So my comparisons are here just to show you some other things that you might enjoy if you really like Gal. Now, as you can see, they're super different from Gal even. But first off, I wanted to snag all the light yellowy green things from Zoya and put them all here in this comparison for you so that you can see what else Zoya has in this kind of range. And then I threw another few, you know, kind of question marks in there for you just in case you were wondering. Like, for example, let's start at the very bottom there. We have Essie Jade in Manhattan. I put this in because it's the only other very light green metallic luster polish that I have. Everything else is, you know, much more richly saturated, darker, things like that. So obviously it's not like Gal at all. But if you were looking for a light metallic green shimmer, well, there's another option for you. Okay, so Gal is third from the bottom. It's actually pretty close looking here to what's right beneath it, which is China Glaze Gone Glamping. If you're familiar with that polish, that's actually like a duochrome to multi-chrome kind of shade. It's not really picking up right now because of just the lighting that it's in. It's just a static lighting, so you can't see the change, and it's not over black or anything. But I mean, it's a pretty mild multi-chrome or duochrome, I'd have to say, but it's really beautiful, and it's very light gold to green kind of shift, but very, very mild. So it actually ends up looking a lot like Gal. So anyway, I put that in there. As for the Zoyas that I thought you might want to see, Yara is pretty close and kind of, you know, the same kind of family tone. It's a cream, but it also does have shimmer. So if you're looking for something less metallic looking, this one is really beautiful, like a really interesting shade of green. And then of course you have Arbor and Scout there, and they're obviously not dupes, but like I said, I'm just putting them here so you can see, you know, some similar things that Zoya has. And then lastly we have Ricky at the top, which is super not even close, but here again you have another kind of metallic shimmering green, and this time it's from Zoya. So if you were looking for something else like that, well, there's Ricky. So there you go. I hope those were helpful. Okay, next up we have Zoya Hadley, and that's second from the top. And boy, this was probably one of the polishes that I had the hardest time finding anything similar for you guys, because it's so nearly gray black with just a tiny pinch of teal in it. You know, I was calling it blue in the video, but it is really a blue-green, because if you look at it there next to Zoya Ryan and Essie After School Blazer, it's, you know, super green compared to those. I mean, green, you know, it's not really green, it just doesn't have as much blue in it. It's got a different kind of vibe. So I did want to show it to you next to these things just because I thought you might be interested to see some other polishes like it. But after searching these polishes for this comparison, I find that Zoya Hadley is super unique in my collection because every other gray that I had didn't have as much of this blue-green twist that this polish has. So it's really cool, and it looks less blue than these other very dark blues that I have, Essie After Schoolboy Blazer and Zoya Ryan. And then from Zoya, the other kind of blue-greenish shade, Zoya Newt. That was the other closest thing that I had to show you. It's obviously a lot lighter and a lot more green. And it's also, it has a texture look on it right now. That's not the polish. That's totally my bad. I must have applied the top coat in a hurry. So I'm sorry about that. It's just a cream. So anyway, yeah, there's some things for you to look at. But yeah, Hadley is super unique. So we're going to go ahead and look at Hera and Padma in the same frame because they're really close. Padma is basically just a tiny touch darker. They're not dupes for each other, obviously, as you can see, but they're pretty similar. So First off, I have 3 really close things for you for Hera. Super duper close. So OPI Aurora Bareilles that just released in their Iceland collection is incredibly close. And they both have really great formulas. Also really close, as you saw me compare in that OPI video, is OPI just lanaiing around. It's a little bit more mauve-y, but it's really close. And China Glaze Fifth Avenue as well. They're all really close. Aurora Bareilles, I would say, is your closest bet there. This is maybe one of the closest dupes that I have for you in this video, an actual dupe. So there you have that. Padma, I just had, well, yeah, I didn't have much really to compare for you for Padma because I was already comparing everything to Hera. So if there was no Hera, I would be showing you all of these things in comparison to Padma. Does that make sense? So, yeah, everything was much more in the Hera, you know, range of light and dark. I did have OPI Scores a Goal in here for you again. Not because I think they're dupes, but I think it is nice to have them side by side, and you're actually going to see it one more time even later. And then at the bottom we have Zoya Star, and this is my little wild card for you because it's from Zoya, and it's kind of in the same range, but if you were looking for something brighter than Hera and Padma with some shimmer, well, that is your go-to girl. So anyway, there's those comparisons. Alright guys, so next up we're going to look at Joni and Presley at the same time. I decided to put them in the same frame because they both were rocking the purple vibes out of this collection, and as you can see, they're 3rd and 4th from the top, and they're not dupes for each other or anything. I did want you to see how they looked side by side. But I had so little to show you in comparison for Joni and lots for Presley, and since I wanted to compare them side by side anyway, I just decided to put all of these things in the same slide. So I don't know what it was about Joni. I don't know if it was because it was described as that plum, right? It was like a deep plum, but while it doesn't look like plum to me, it must be the plum in there that is making it so hard for me to match anything else. So I was trying to match all my my mauve roses, and it was just too different, as you can see. So Joni is another polish that's very unique to my collection, which I'm super excited about because it was one of my top polishes out of this collection. So for Joni today, I have to compare for you, other than Presley, we're going to look at Madeline, which, you know, as you can see, is totally different. It's lighter and peachier. And also I had Madeline to compare for you for Presley just a little bit, but also OPI Scores a Goal. I'm comparing that to another one of the polishes later in the collection as well, but I thought it would be a fun comparison for Joni. But really, guys, it's so different from all of these things. So, yeah, another reason to love Joni. So while we're at it, let's go ahead and talk about Presley. So Presley's right below Joni. And actually really similar to Presley is Jana. Jana is this really interesting taupey purple, but barely purple shade, and it gives the same kind of effect as Presley. Presley's a little bit lighter and a little bit more purple, but it's very similar. I wouldn't call them dupes, but they're very close. I also wanted to compare it to Easton. Easton is that very light purple taupe, but it's even lighter than Presley and a little bit less pinky. And then really close is China Glaze My Lodge or Yours. There, that's second from the bottom. And it's actually really close, and I was always thinking of My Lodge or Yours as like a tan neutral shade, but it definitely has some kind of plum or pinky rose tones in there, so that's really fun. And then at the bottom I have Zoya Odette, because out of all the other light taupey, gray, muted purple things, as you can see, this is way more purple than Presley or Joni, but it was the closest out of all those other things, like Essie Warm and Toasty Turtleneck, OPI One Heckla of a Color. I had a bunch of things pulled, but they're way more purple. So anyway, here's all these things together. This frame here is just such love to me. I love absolutely everything in this frame. So gorgeous. So anyway, I hope this helps you out. You guys are telling me that the dupes and comparisons portion of my video just helps you find more polishes that you want to purchase, which that's fun for me because, you know, then I'm doing my work. I'm doing my work correctly, because I do take a long time to pull together this dupes and comparisons portion, and if you find something else in here that you can totally love, then that makes me really excited. Okay, so I have 2 frames for you to look at here for Zoya and McKenna. First up, I'm just going to show you these Zoyas. Because there are 3 of them that are super similar. They are none of them going to have that pearlescent finish though. But we have Noah Below, which is a little bit less warm and then above we have Taylor, and then above that we have Tatum, and they're all really close. The top two are warmer, but I wanted to show you these together first, and then I'm going to show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more nudes that are similar to this here in just a second, because there are a lot. So I want you guys to see side by side from the Zoya family first. And so yeah, these are really close. I wouldn't call any of them dupes, but let's go ahead and look at these other ones now. Alright guys, so this isn't spread out in the way I normally do for my comparisons, but I already had these. I wasn't actually even going to show you these because I had so many from Zoya, but I thought you might still want to see. So I'm just going to put Zoya and McKenna next to all of these things because I already had them bundled together for the China Glaze video that we just looked at, the fall video. This one first, we have OPI Coconuts over OPI. It's very close. McKenna is just a little bit warmer. And then we have Feeling Frisco from OPI, a lot more peachy toned. Again, Pale to the Chief is more peachy toned, but these are all the same ones that I had out for you in my comparison for Thrown in Shade from the China Glaze video. So there's compared to Pale to the Chief. Do You Take Layaway is really close. That was my other one that was really close to Thrown in Shade as well. This is OPI, Do You Take Layaway. And it doesn't swatch quite as nicely as Zoya McKenna, and of course these don't have shimmer. Pale to the Chief did have shimmer, but anyway, so there's that. Really close. Next we have Sorry I'm Latte, a lot more peach. It's deeper. This is really close. China Glaze What She Dune. It's not, you know, exact. Zoya McKenna's a little bit more warm, a little bit deeper. And then here you have Thrown in Shade, really close. Thrown in Shade is a little bit deeper. I'd say your best bet is Do You Take Layaway. So there you have those. Sorry they're not spread out like they normally are. They're at the very back of one of my swatch sticks, and I just pulled this out last minute to show you because I thought you might still like to see. But yeah, I'd go with Do You Take Layaway, and then it wouldn't have that pearly effect if you were looking to not have that pearly effect. But also Thrown in Shade is really good too, and I also really liked Zoya Taylor and Zoya Noah. So anyway, there you have those. Alright you guys, another giant frame here for you. Sorry about that, but there was just so much to talk about in this part. So we have Mona and Yvonne here in the same frame. I put them right next to each other so that you can see how they compare. I think that they are very different. Mona is darker with less berry tones going on, more of like a brownie raisin kind of color. And you know, there's Yvonne fourth from the bottom, but I think that they are close enough that you'd want to see what they look like side by side. So let's look at Yvonne first. So Yvonne definitely has berryness going on. She is an exact dupe to OPI We the Female. I really think that they're exactly the same. You know, if you had to pick, maybe Yvonne's a tiny bit darker, maybe. They're both gorgeous formulas. So there you have that. And then also it's kind of similar to Maki Me Happy from Essie. That's obviously a lot richer and brighter in color, and Essie Dressed to Kilt as well. But I picked them because they were the closest things to Yvonne from all like the muted berry tones. They're not super muted, but they were close. Okay, so now let's look at Mona. So Mona is very close to Color Club Men Are From Mars. I love that shade. It's like a beautiful raisin. And now I have Mona. And Mona's just a tiny bit less purpley, just a tiny bit. You wouldn't really maybe think of that as a purple shade, but when you're picking it out, I mean, as I'm looking at here in my viewfinder, it looks purpley, especially OPI scores a goal, which is the MVP of this review. It's made its way in here so many times just because I thought it would be, you know, nice to see it side by side with all these berry reds that they put in here. So Mona there for you, very close to Men Are From Mars and OPI scores a goal. Neither of them are dupes, but they're incredibly close. If you want something a little bit darker than OPI scores a goal, that's what you'd want to go for, is Mona. And then I also wanted to put in 3 more Zoyas in here that kind of were in the same area. We have Zoya Claire, which is a darker, brownier red. And Courtney is in there as well, which is more a very dark but blue-based red. And then we have, and it's also jelly, so it's different in formula. And then we have Zoya Pepper, which we looked at recently in the China Glaze video, and it is more tanny orange toned, as you can see, but it's from Zoya, and I thought you might want to see, you know, some other things that could be close to Mona from Zoya. I love Zoya Pepper. It's a great polish. As you can see, not a dupe here at all. It's much, much warmer. So anyway, there are those things for you. I did have some very similar things to Mona and Yvonne. So if you were looking for something super duper close, well, I think you have a couple here to choose from. Okay guys, so last up we're looking at Zoya Tabitha. That is second from the top, and we have a Zoya thing that's actually incredibly close already. We have Zoya Envy, which doesn't have that pearlescent finish going through it, but it's very close. So if you were looking for a polish from Zoya, as you can see, it's a little bit deeper because it's not reflecting at any of that pearl at all, so it looks deeper, but they really looked similar when I was swatching them. So if you wanted something without the pearl, you could go for Envy. I also have OPI Front Runner in there for you. It's not quite as deep. It looks like it has a pinch of white in it, but it is another deep green, and that one's gorgeous. And then we have the deepest one. We have OPI Here Today, Aragon Tomorrow, and that's a 3-coater, but a really deep green from OPI. So those are actually pretty similar. Lots of beautiful deep greens out there. But out of these three, the only one that has that lustrous finish is Zoya Tabitha. Alright you guys, so here we found ourselves at the end of this video. I hope that as a whole this video was very helpful to you. If it was, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I hope you had some fun hanging out with me today. I hope that you enjoyed it, but that you also found it helpful. Let me know in the comment section which ones your favorites are. Thanks for stopping by today. Thanks for giving me some of your time today. I hope you guys go out and finish off this day feeling absolutely fulfilled, and that you got the most enjoyment out of this day that you possibly could. I will see you back for another video very soon, you guys. Take care. Bye.